All right, everybody loves Doom, don't they? But did you know that now LLMs can generate Doom in real time? It's not pre-rendered background, but literally frame by frame, it generates the next frame or view that it thinks the player, based on the action, is doing. This is insane. So if you see the video on screen, that literally level does not exist. It's AI generating it frame by frame based on the input, similar to the way you generate images. And to me, this is insane. And I think it's definitely impressive that they're able to accomplish this, because every time you run this, you're literally playing a new randomly generated level of the game. And it's not perfect, but if this gives us a taste of what the future will be, basically you have games that will be auto-generated in real time based on your actions, which is kind of crazy. And obviously we're very, very far away from this being a reality. This is just proof of concept, but it is amazing. And we talked in the past of, having TV shows generated, similar to what images are generated right now. Now you have video games. So what do you all think about this?
A video game that you can endlessly play would be amazing, right? Like, it's never going to be the same. You can't cheat because you don't know what's coming. Like, there's no online guide to tell you what to do because it's different every single time you literally play it. Like, that's fascinating. And I wonder if you could combine that with some kind of a framework, right? Because obviously this might have an issue in like the game playability part of it. Like, how does it do the score? How does it do all the other things, right? You could build some kind of framework about that, but it procedurally generates some other things, right?
They've been making procedural generated maps for a while, though. I mean, they've done that.
Yeah, but this is frame by frame.
The crazy thing
real
is,
time.
Literally, like, if you have a flip book of images of artists drawn, it's not even like 3D rendered. It's literally images that are happening in free time. In this case, I think it's like 2 frames per second.
I was going to say, man, does this run at 60 frames per second?
No, it does not, unfortunately. You need a couple of more nuclear power plants.
I was going to say, you need the nuclear reactor.
You need a little more juice. But the fact that it literally just generates not like just the level, but the UI, and that's why like you see the words or the text is kind of jumbled because AI is not really good at it yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those parts, like, it shouldn't be procedurally generating.
That's the crazy part, that it's generating everything. Like, and I think as this gets better and it gets to a point where it's indistinguishable from like movie quality, like fake news, fake content, like there's definitely like the pros of like, wow, we're going to have like real time generated like visual experiences. It could be a movie, it could be a show, it could be a game. But on the other side, it could be a president talking how we're going to war with like another country. Like, you know what I mean? It could be used for bad and good. So I'm kind of like have mixed feelings about this tech getting to the point where it's like, oh, wow, it's going to generate everything in real time.
That's like the best choose your own adventure book when like you're flipping through the pages. You're like, oh, okay, now go to page like 5. But it's happening in real time. I think that's pretty amazing. But like you said, I don't know how it's going to, how do you get to like the final boss, and how do you, get to these like predetermined
you almost have to have like, you're right, you have to have these kind of like predetermined steps along the way. Like there are certain things you have to do, but the in-between could be like generated somehow. Or maybe it never ends, right? There's certain games that like don't have an ending, right? Like
kids in the future is going to be like, Mom, I'll be at dinner when I finish this level 40 years later. Oh, shit.
Still on this level.
Oh, my God.
And I do like this idea, Paul, of like the generated show as well, as being like, obviously that's a next level past this because it has to be like reality. But we're seeing like these AI generated videos. And while they're not at a point now where they're really watchable, they're kind of not. But 5 years ago or 2 years ago, even, I'm not even saying 5 years ago, 2 years ago, AI image generation was like terrible. Like it was like, people with their arms out of their head and stuff. And now look at it today. It's crazy. So if we can do the same with video, actually having some kind of AI generated video that's like given a narrative and it's like personalized to me, be crazy cool.
But the interest, like my reservation always with any of this AI stuff, like for instance, like for this to work, they needed to have like data sets of actual Doom, of players playing Doom, and then training the images on like what Doom levels look like. So there's that original content. And so my issue is, especially with like copywriting laws being fuzzy, it's like, who takes credit for the original concept? So I saw amazing videos generated with AI, but like I played with AI enough is that if you didn't have original content as data sets for it to use to base its generation on, it wouldn't be able to generate it. And so I like that idea, but I could see how like musicians, creators, artists who may have had their data used to train these models are basically going to be out of a job because of this AI eventually. I'm not saying now, but there was a case of a designer who worked for a company where his company used his templates that he was creating to train their AI, where their AI could now represent like regenerate like multiple iterations of those templates on the fly without the need of the original designer. So he got laid off because they didn't need him anymore. And that's the part that I'm worried about. Like, how do we draw the line and how's that going to work?
Well, I think that creativity will always trump this AI. Plus, I'm not worried about video gamers using this to make a video game because frame by frame making a video game's never going to be fast at ever.
One day.
I don't know.
One day.
I mean, running images at 120 frames per second is like, that just wouldn't be efficient. You could do it probably, but like, some processor we don't have yet. But like, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I don't know if I want generated movies though.
Yeah.
I do. Well, that's the thing. It's going to be an option, right?
I saw She-Hulk. I mean, I don't want to see. I want more.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Here's the point that I think you could be like, make this better.
Yeah. Like change the ending.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fix this. So a lot of times I'll write stuff and I'll be like, ChatGPT, make this make sense, and it does. And so I could use that for TV shows. Like literally, I don't know what happened, but can you please fix this right now?
Yeah, you're like, hey, I didn't like the ending of Rogue One. Can you have them survive?
Dude,
spoiler. Sorry.
Speaking of which, complete tangent. When I saw Rogue One, like I was like with my daughter, and she was younger at the time, and she like loved it. She's like, "Oh, this is the greatest movie," and I was like, "Everybody died.
Yeah,
like nobody lived. This was terrifying. This was like the worst movie I've seen ever." Where like I was like, I started counting the death toll, and I was like, I lost count. I was like, it's like that's a terrible movie. That movie frightened me. It's like everybody died. There's like.
But wouldn't it be great if you could change it like with AI and just say, "Hey, can you make these characters survive at the end?" Like that would be. I would like that.
If you've seen A New Hope, though, you know where it's going.
That's right.
But they didn't have to kill everybody on the planet.
Like the cast was huge. I was like, oh my god, and that's how I knew that was not a Disney movie because I was like the amount of people leaving.
A lot of spies died.
Watched A New Hope. I know how this ends.
But also talking about
cost?
procedurally generated like shows and things too. There's a Black Mirror episode for this. If you haven't seen it, it's called Joan is Awful. It was on, I think it's like the last season that was just on, it's like season 6 or whatever it was. The first episode of that, and it's about like this person's life that is generated into a Netflix show. It's not Netflix on the thing. I think it's like Strawberry Vision or something they call it on there. It's like it's this weird thing that they had, but it's basically Netflix, right? It's a generic Netflix. But it's basically this person's life, and it becomes a show. But it's all procedurally like it's weird. Like but there's already a Black Mirror on this. It's like kind of, yeah. But there's an actor playing you on the screen. It's like it was very weird. It turns out it was multi like depth. So it turns out that person also had an actor playing them on their screen. It was like multiple depth. But it was like the idea was this procedurally like generated like world, whatever. So all these things that we think about, like the guy who writes Black Mirror has already thought about these things. He's already made episodes on this.
Because I think what's happening is all these people came up with these crazy dystopian futures, and then somebody's born and they're like, you know what? I want to actualize this in real life. They don't tell you that, but that's the goal. Like, I like how, like, Sam Altman probably like, yeah, good of the humanity. Back in the day, he saw Terminator and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to publicly admit it, but to be known for building Skynet, hell yeah. Are you kidding me? It's like, but
I saw a meme the other day with, it said, the scientists can say that they can create dinosaurs in the next 5 years. And then it says there's literally 4 movies that explain why this is a bad idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, it's a lot of people like, how come we never ran into like other like signs of life, wherever you're on the spectrum? If you believe in the aliens, great. If you don't, that's great too. But it's like, how come we haven't caught the signal? And there's this one like argument is that a lot of these societies either never existed or they became so technologically advanced that they all live inside a matrix. And the reason why we don't hear anything is that the planet underground just literally has the computer and they all live in the simulation.
The reason we don't hear them is because we're all watching Netflix.
Right. That's true too. We're on social media doom scrolling.
I don't know what this theory is called, but I like the theory of, and it does have a name and I just can't remember what it's called, but I like the theory of we exist at one point in time, but time is so large that we only exist like as humans for this tiny, tiny piece. And then if other civilizations do exist, they also only exist for tiny, tiny pieces. And therefore, if we ever cross over, it's like such that it's like an infinite impossibility. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're still in like caveman era and like
or they're so far away from us that like they're not even like at that point yet. They're literally billions of years away from even existing.
Right.
What I want to know is, based on all the things that are changing with like AI, nuclear power plants, I wanted to see like someone come up with some new like conspiracy theories that are more interesting than the ones I already watched on YouTube. Like, there's got to be an.
You got to come up with them, Paul.
I know, and I don't want to like,
Chat GPT it. No, surely,
I'll probably tell you the truth. Like, that's what it is. It probably is already programmed into Chat GPT, and it just spits the truth. It's like it's a cabal. They all want to become perfect humans, and there could only be one. And it's like they're all like diverging to like this godlike state. And we're just in the bystanders in the process. It'll be funny. Like, we make these jokes, and then like 30 years from now, we see Bill Gates levitating, and he's just like this guy. It's like, what is happening?
He'll have the nuclear power for it.
He'll have the nuclear power to do it, baby.
What is happening? At this point, if someone said, "What do you think is going to happen in the future?" Like, I have no idea. At this point, like, based on what's happening.
No, that's true. Think about like, let's say when Windows came out, right? Let's say you go back to like when Excel came out or something, or Bill Gates put the personal computer on your desktop, right? If somebody said to them, he's also going to buy a nuclear reactor, right? You'd have been like, dude, you're an idiot. What are you talking about?
He's also the largest U.S. landholder. So.
Yes, my goodness. You would never believe that, would you? What? The same dude that's giving me Excel is sure, whatever.
Sure, Dan.
Dude, the power of this is not gonna make sense. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say the power of bad jokes, because everybody said Microsoft. What does it mean? And he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna own the world.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have nuclear reactors. I'm gonna have AI. You make fun of me all the time. It was a joke, like Bill.
Going all in, all in.
Yeah, all in. He's like, I'm gonna. But
we got 4 or 5 guys that can do it now, so that's
that's good. At least we have some diversity of people like fighting. What would be hilarious? This is what I want. This is actually what I want. You know how we have Godzilla, or like what's that movie like Pacific Rim, where they have these huge robots fighting? I just want like these guys like Zuck, Bezos, Musk, Bill get so huge that they literally become these machines, and we just watch them battle on Earth to see which corporation is the greatest.
Don't pitch them this idea.
Bezos is already jacked. I mean, like, if you look at Bezos, he's jacked.
Bezos, like, he's living the life.
But giant fighting robots is almost like the next thing they're going to go to.
I hope
like,
so.
Really, this is not too far off.
They'll be hilarious. Are you kidding me? We're just like, whoever thought this was going to happen.